And we're live. Good morning, everybody. Daniel Allison, the average dude, and we are super excited. Can you hear me, Freddie Blanton?
I can hear you, Danny.
353 days strong, and we've interviewed great guests. We've had some incredible times on this program. 30 minutes to get your mind right. Freddie, tell me something this morning.
Tell me something good. Hey, it's pump
There,
day.
it's
Danny?
pump it's pump day, and you know what, it feels a little bit different for me in the box this morning because we have a guest. We've been doing this solo. Are you looking forward to interviewing, getting back into that pace?
Yeah, man, I was thinking about questions and what's going to happen, and it's been a little bit since we interviewed somebody. I'm nervous.
Oh yeah, oh
Are
yeah.
you
Well, that's
nervous?
energy. That's energy, man. That's energy, and really super looking forward to Dr. Brad Hughes back on the program. And let's say good morning to all of our fantastic bus riders. We've got Russ Hammond, Red Wing Russ, in the comments this morning. Good morning, Russ. We've got Joe. Good morning, Mr. Joe, all the way from Boston. Buongiorno, as he likes to say. Vicky Watts, good morning. V Dub, good morning, y'all. Hey, you remember this lady?
Oh, man, the team showing up.
The team is showing up, and I love to see that. So, if you didn't know, we've interviewed this fantastic team at Vision Dental Partners, and we're back again because great things keep happening with that organization. Paul Pappy, come on now, T- touch me, babe. Can't you see that I am not afraid? I love it. Hey, Desiree's here. Lex is here. Gary is still on the road, but he's here as well. So, hey, Lex, great to see you. Man, I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up, ready to rock and roll. Fred, let me, hey, I see Jason in here and Aaron, there's Trent. Man, great to see everybody pumping in here. And I'm super excited. When you think about Dr. Brad Hughes, we've interviewed him once before. You've seen some of his content. What comes to mind, Fred?
Well, here is somebody, in my opinion, that is trying to change the game a little bit in the dental world.
Yeah.
Right? He's not really now. One, the customer experience still has to be fantastic, but there's so much more to it. Building winning teams, leading people in tough times, and I believe that he's starting to show up on YouTube too.
I believe he is, and I've got to ask him about that. I've never digested that much content before I watched someone that came on. He's got a lot of content out there. It's super good. And hey, I tell you what, enough talk. Let's go ahead and introduce Dr. Brad Hughes. Welcome to the program.
Hey, good to be here.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Hey,
That was quite the intro. Number one, it was quite the hype song to get this thing rolling this morning, guys. Like that's
Yeah,
on
we want
point.
you ready to
Go ahead.
dump.
hey, Brad, the reason I wanted to talk to you from the very beginning, you've talked about energy. And it's something that I think about a lot. I know in some of the programs you've talked about people with good energy. When you think about energy, what do you think about?
Well, look, I think let's relate this back to sports because again, like I know very little about anything that goes on in the world outside of sports and a little bit of dentistry. So how many times have you been watching a sporting event? I don't care if it's a college football game, an NFL game, an NBA game, an NHL game. At the end of the game, post game conference, the winning coach gets in there and says, "We just had a little better energy than they did today. That's why we won." Look, at the end of the day, like everybody has talent. There's a ton of incredible human beings out there. So how do you separate the ones that are average from those that go and kick ass? And energy is a big deal. If you can show up consistently, or at least like, and consistently doesn't mean it has to be like A plus energy every single day. It just means that it needs to be, if you're not feeling it that day, but you can still bring A minus energy, you're going to be a winner. So I think the people that can bring energy, those are the people everybody wants to be around.
Absolutely. Energy attracts good things, right? It's like when we put off that vibe, when we put off that frequency, the team gets better, we get better, and good things seem to happen. And so if we can generate that in the morning, so that's what this show is all about. It's John Gordon's energy bus into the workday. Let's think positive. Let's do good things today. Fred, what's on your mind?
Well, I can directly relate that to I officiate basketball, Dr. Brad. When a team starts the game and they're willing to dive on the floor, chase loose balls, get in the other team's face, their energy almost suppresses the other team's confidence immediately.
I hate this story, but it goes exactly to that. So I was at the Indiana Louisville basketball game. By the way, the same day that Indiana beat Ohio State to win the Big Ten championship in football. Let's just go Hoosiers. But the opposite of that would be the Indiana Louisville basketball game at Gamebridge in Indianapolis. Louisville started out the game 16-0. They were in our face. They were more physical. They showed up more energized. They brought it from that opening tip. They turned us over. They got easy buckets. They were more physical. They were just ready to play. Indiana was not. We fell down 16-0. I think we ended up we either outscored them the rest of the game or at least hung with them. I think we lost by maybe 11 or something like that. So we literally outscored them after that initial 16-0 run, but they brought the physicality. They brought the punch. And that's got to be the way every day starts. People don't understand. It doesn't matter what job you're going into. I don't care if you're going to flip burgers at McDonald's or you're going into, your shift in the emergency department. Bring some energy. That is how you're going to get other people to elevate their game.
Yeah, it's contagious.
It's contagious. And I'm glad that you said that. Dr. Brad, you seem to bring the energy. That's why I enjoy watching your content. You bring the energy yourself. You attract people that bring the energy. Talk to about how that's contagious with the team.
Yeah, look, I mean, you look at our core values. So, will to win. I don't want to be around people who don't have a desire to talk about winning. And that doesn't mean that we always win. I mean, shit, I screw things up literally every day, probably more than anybody else in my company. But I think when you get on, when our best doctors, energy, bring courage. They've developed their charisma over time. When we get on calls, I mean, and we've had this happen, and I think Mikhail and Jason and Lex and whoever else is in this call can say, we've been on calls with our management team where the energy has been dead, and that doesn't fly. and I think they find out real quick that this is not how this is going to go, or we're not going to do this. So, if you're not fired up about what you're doing every day, go fricking find something else to do, because there's a reason you're not fired up about it, and that's a problem.
Yeah. So in your group structure, and you're trying to build a winning team, and you're influencing each location. When it comes to accountability, do you hold people accountable who just don't bring it consistently?
Yeah. I mean, quick answer is yes. And, I think that goes to a deeper point to where I think it's never been easier in business. I don't think there's ever been more opportunity in business, because I think less people are trying. I think less people are holding other people accountable. I think there's less leadership. I think there's less strong leadership out there across all industries than there was 20 years ago or 15 years ago. At least I certainly know that to be true in the dental space. But that also means that the opportunity has never been greater. But it's harder, because the thing that we fight is entitlement, complacency, ego. I mean, because dentistry has become so commoditized because of those three things. That's my fight every day. It's not other dentists. My competition, we don't have competition. Our competition is entitlement and complacency. And so that's what I'm fighting every single day. And I have to try to eradicate that from my company. And it is an everyday fight. We've got 100 and some odd team members. My main job as the top dude on that in the organization is to fight that on a daily basis. So yes, that is, you've got to proactively get in there and figure out where the problems are from an entitlement standpoint or an ego standpoint, and get them the hell out.
Yeah.
Ego is the enemy when it comes to self-awareness, isn't it, Dr. Brad?
Yeah. Yes. And yes.
I want to ask you about this guy. You talk a lot about leadership style, and he is a unique character. Of course, he's at IU, and he's doing pretty decent things up there. What is your take on him?
Well, I don't have his picture on my wall behind me yet, but I mean, obviously, I grew up. I was born in 1980, so I grew up in the heydays of Bobby Knight in Indiana, and maybe Signetti and Knight aren't exactly the same, but they're cut from pretty much the same cloth.
I agree.
And the difference being is that when Coach Knight was in his heyday, that was kind of the norm. I mean, you look at the coaches and the culture of America, that was just what was expected from coaches. They were going to ride your ass. They were going to be hard on you. They were going to push you to get the max out of you. And then they still had to be good at the X's and O's in order to win games. Now, it's not the norm. And I think guys like Coach Signetti show that you can still, with that leadership style, it still wins. You can, we need more people like him in business, in sports, just life in general, to get and push and extract the best out of all of us. Every single person needs somebody like that. Maybe not everybody, everybody responds in some fashion to appropriate leadership. And he's not look at Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo is still one of the probably hardest asses in college basketball, and he's still bringing in one of the top recruiting classes next year. Nick Saban was still winning at an incredibly high level at Alabama, one of the toughest guys to play for in college football. Signetti comes from the Saban tree. So, yes, he is incredibly intentional. He probably watches more film than any other coach in college football, but he demands he has an expectation that he has set for that program, and he has completely changed the culture and the mindset around what the expectation is. And that is, I think that's what leaders should be doing. That is our job. It's not to just sit there and high five everybody. We're not freaking cheerleaders. We're leaders, not sit on the sidelines with our freaking pom-poms and root everybody on. It's get in there, put in the work, set an expectation, set a bar, and let's go.
I love that. Freddie, where does your mind go as you hear Dr. Brad talk about Coach Signetti and that kind of leadership style?
Well, if you don't know who he is, Google him. And it makes me think that kids still want to be coached that way, because he has very talented people on his roster. And the attitudes, the selfish ways, that's gone. And there's kids that still need his coaching style, and I like it.
I think, Freddie, that's a good point. These weren't all the most highly recruited kids either. But I think what Coach Sig has the ability to do says, I don't care what your star rating is. And I think this goes to really, I think Jason, and you're probably in the comments somewhere, this is sort of how we approach recruiting, is I don't really care about your skill set. Will you be a team player? Are you coachable? Can you lose the ego even when you're winning? Can you stay hungry? And those are the type of dudes that Coach Sig goes out and looks for. There was a interview probably after 4 or 5 games this year. IU was 4-5-0. Starting to get a little more hype again after we were a little underranked to start the season, by the way, obviously. So, but they had interviewed, I think it was Aiden Fisher, one of our All-American linebacker, and he said there were some guys that came in either from the portal or young guys that maybe didn't know the IU way when they first got here. And he said, we had to set that straight. That's leadership, man.
Yeah.
That's Coach Sig. That's the players. They now have an IU way. That's all I want in my company. We need to have the VDP way. And I think there's never been, like, that has stood out to me more than anything else. Coach Sig goes out and gets dudes that buy into that. And if you don't, you ain't playing.
It's the mindset of the organization, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's contagious, like you said, and then everyone else starts behaving like the leader. And as you go and you talk to dentists across the country, they've done the same thing that you've done, Dr. Brad. They may be a third generation dentist as well. You probably see a lot of complacency out there. Folks that have made it, they don't know how to get that energy back. I would imagine someone like you that has kind of cracked that egg, you're bringing in energy and you're kind of exciting them about where they can go. Is that what's happening?
That's exactly what goes on. You know, I think when you lose momentum because some complacency kicks in, it is really hard to get it back. That's why we talk all the time. When we have momentum, you've got to ride it and we've got to keep going. And you have to do everything possible to keep that momentum moving, because the moment that momentum goes away, it is tough. It is really tough to get back. And I would go back to a conversation I had with now one of our partner doctors. It was about a year ago. This was up in Indiana. And it was the first time I'd ever met him. And we sat down. This was Dr. Randy Stoffer up in Elkhart. Great dude, great practice. But he had done the exact same in his practice for 4 or 5 straight years. And he said, I'm looking to partner with a group. I just don't know how to take that next level. I said, well, to take this practice to the next level, it's really going to be you. You need to get over your own bullshit excuses. It's time. And kind of called out a few things. The first time I'd ever met him in person, we'd had a 30-minute phone conversation about a month earlier. And you could see his eyes start to well up with tears. And he's like, and this is a 55-year-old guy. Yeah. He's like, yeah, it's what I needed to hear. And I'm like, great. Then let's go do this together and let's build this together and let's really go get after it.
How did you become that person?
I think I just I've convinced myself every day I have 0. Every single day, every morning I wake up. Right now, I sit here and I am convinced if I don't do the things I need to do today, I will have nothing at the end of the day. I will have lost my cars. I will have lost my house. I will have even though they're paid off, I will lose it all, right? Like, I have convinced myself that is exactly what will happen on a daily basis, not a yearly, not a 5-year basis, a daily basis. Also, I think you develop the scar tissue over the years, right? Like you build the confidence by taking some L's and working through them. And then, as Daniel said, like you become much more self-aware at that point. And, when you can look in the mirror and still be confident, knowing that you're probably going to screw some things up today, I think that's a big deal. And I think a lot of people really struggle with that. They take a couple L's, they lose confidence, they lose confidence in themselves, they lose confidence in their leadership, they don't continue to push other people around them probably as hard as they should. They're not now building team, they're now just complacent. And he had a team around him when we acquired that practice that was like wildly complacent. And, we had to fix that. And now that we have, he's pumped. And that is my goal. I'm looking for doctors just like that all throughout the country that have that mindset, that want to go have an amazing 10-year run, not 10-month run, 10-year run, because it takes time.
Takes time, and I love that. It doesn't matter what I love about your content, it doesn't matter if you're a dentist or not. We get around 50 years old, we start getting complacent, we start slowing down, and we think there's nothing to get excited about anymore. And you got a dentist who in a lot of people's minds, they maybe had success, but if we're not making progress, we don't feel good. And so we've got to keep doing things.
Yeah. I think you just have to redefine what does success mean. I mean, I look at somebody who's, yes, like I'll go back to him, like he's had some success in his life. There's no question. But you've got to redefine what that looks like. Are you complacent with being, you know, I mean, he was still, if he was an NFL team, he was 7-3, barely halfway, a little over halfway through that, maybe a little more than halfway through the season. We'll call it 9-4. Like he's on the road to a playoff appearance, but he could also go lose the next 4 games and just totally be done, right? So like you got to keep going. Just because you've won a little bit means nothing. And there are countless stories out there of dentists or business owners that are working until they don't get to have a choice of when they hang it up. And I think that's the game is let's build some things so that we have options. Let's build some things so that at the end of the day, Dr. So-and-so, you've got an option to exit when you want to exit, not because somebody else or life tells you or your brain tells you or your hands tell you that you can't do it anymore. And I think that's really important.
Keep control of the narrative in that way. Fred, what comes to mind? Anything on your mind?
Well, and Dr. Brad took responsibility of showing him the truth. Like sometimes as a leader, and you're going to have to change some things, you'll have to expose some stuff to other people and they won't like it, but it has to be exposed to make the biggest difference.
Dr. Brad?
You got to have difficult conversations. I mean, certainly people do with me, it's people get very emotional when it comes to money. People get very emotional when it comes to contracts. People get very emotional when it comes to feedback. But like, you've just got to be able to look in the mirror and be like, I need more feedback. I want more feedback. And I think when you can get into that mindset, like it's not easy. It's not easy for me sometimes. I mean, I got plenty of people out there going, hey, you suck at this, get better at that. It's like, great, let's do it. But you've got to be able to, self-awareness is a big freaking thing, man. Like I'm going to go back to it. The ability to be self-aware and stay confident. You've got to be able to stay confident. You cannot allow feedback from other people to get you down. And great leaders are able to give that feedback while still propping people up, while still being able to extract the best out of people. And but the ability to take feedback and be coachable is really, really important. Really important.
It's interesting. So Freddie and I, we've been doing this show 350 days, every single weekday for 350 plus days. And Freddie is a basketball official. And I am pretty much somewhat a people pleaser, right? I want to make everybody happy. And so getting in the box with him every single morning, and he's going to tell me the truth. Yeah. And that, to your point, is my point. You're going to grow if you're around someone that is going to tell you the truth of things. You end up growing but it is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it can be wildly uncomfortable. I think I'm in a dental space where difficult conversations are not the norm. I'm in a dental space where entitlement has never been greater. I genuinely see it is my antagonist. It is not like people can blame mega DSOs for like the downfall of private equity is the downfall of dentistry. No, it's not. Like, get that out of your mind. You're looking at this completely wrong. It is entitlement. It is ego. It is complacency are the downfall of dentistry right now. And we need to have conversations about it. And we need to be able to be open to feedback about that. I think I'm going to make it my mission over the next 3 days to get as much freaking feedback from people before Christmas, because like between Christmas and New Year's, like nobody freaking works. Like I just need it. I need to hear some shit about me before we go into Christmas break so that I can hit 2026 hard, get this thing moving early. And so I know D-Rock, you're out there listening right now. Like I need mega feedback for the next 3 days.
Hey, you need a Freddie on your team, Dr. Brad. You need
Yeah,
a.
like,
I
Freddie, you
hope.
may need to just like send me some video messages and just like rip me.
Well,
Hey,
here's what I've
here's a,
seen. It looks like you are really pushing your brand. Like now is the time where you are letting people know this is our brand, this is how we do it. And with that comes a little more responsibility because you're in the public eye more. People see you more. They know who you are. And you kind of become this rock star of the dental world. How do you prepare for that?
I think one, I never say anything that I don't know to be factually true in the moment. I have very intentional opinions loosely held, which means that, and I think that's important. Like, I also reserve the right to change my mind 3 years from now if like things change in the business cycle or if I learn a better way to do something, because I'm also not the same person I was 6 years ago. I'm better, and I guarantee you I'll be better 3 years from now, which means the content will probably morph and change as we go. But I also have more conviction in what I'm doing. It's like therapy. Creating content is like therapy because I just get to talk all day. I'm talking about things I know. I'm talking about things I live. I'm just talking about me. I'm talking about sports. I'm talking about business. I'm talking about dentistry. I'm talking about leadership. It actually makes me 10 times more greater conviction in the things that I believe because I am putting it out there. I mean, look at Cialdini's principles of influence. One of the 7 principles of influence is commitment and consistency. And I live and die by these 7 principles. I built a company around Cialdini's 7 principles of influence. When you're out there talking about this stuff every single day, you're in the process of, finding your voice. And that's what I'm doing every single day, is really hammering down those pillars that I have so much conviction around that there is no dispute who I am. And by the way, when you meet me in real life, the greatest compliment is you're exactly the same on camera as you are in real life. And I think that translates. I get told that quite a bit. That's really important. And I just have a ton of conviction in what I'm saying because I put so much out there.
you believe in everything that you're saying. Like you say, I call that the truth parachute, right? Like whatever it is that I say, I'll be okay if I just say what I know.
Exactly. That's the game right there. And, but it also allows us to build community around that. It allows us to build team around that. It allows us to build culture around that. I'm out there saying, I want to build the best damn dental company in America. Yeah. And I'm just showing you how I'm going to do that. That's not a threat to anybody else. I want to elevate everybody else. I want everybody gunning for us. That's the whole point, because if they're better, we're better, even though, like they can do their thing. But at the end of the day, like I've just got to go be me.
You're shaking up the space. You're shaking up the space, just like we talked about. Sometimes things that have been they've been the same way for too long, and that's exactly what I saw. I said, man, this isn't a dentist. This is something else. But we know that there's other folks out there that have those wide variety of skills, that talent stack, where they can bring all of those skills together and really start doing something impressive.
There's a wild status quo in the dental space, I assure you. And I'm sure it's that way in a lot of industries. But there's a real commoditization of dentistry. We need to return the space to relationships and soft skills, understanding that if you're not at least an above average dentist, go figure that out, like get better at it, go do a little more continuing education or something. But at the end of the day, the number one, and it is not even close. It is like 1A, and then it's like Z. It's like the difference between Indiana University and Purdue. One is significantly better than the rest. The number one thing that every successful dentist that has built an elite practice has is charisma. And we've got to get to the fact, we've got to start having more conversations around the fact that soft skills are what develop practices, build brand, bring in more new patients, have higher case acceptance, have higher patient retention, all the things over everything else.
This to me is universal. I think no matter what it is, all things need that. We can learn what Dr. Brad's saying. He talks to a lot of dentists. I think he's talking to a lot of different industries. Don't you, Fred?
Oh, 100%.
100%. I've got one final question for Dr. Brad, but I'm gonna let Fred. Does Fred have a final question before I give the final one?
No, that was fantastic. Charisma. And then at this point in time, soft skills are the real skills. So you have to develop that.
God, you have to.
Soft skills are the real skills. Okay, Dr. Brad, I watched a couple of the B-rolls. Lots of good things happening at Vision Dental Partners. Lots going on. This is my question.
Man, dude, I'm having so much freaking fun. Like, I can't even. Every day, like, there's not enough hours in the day. Like, I need more hours because I'm having so much damn fun. I want to do more of it. Like, I know that's wacky, but like, I'm serious. Like, I need more time because I want to do more of it during the day. I want to get more done during the week. Like, I think we're just. I said this to somebody yesterday. I was on an operations call yesterday. The point that I'm at right now in my career, I started about 12 years ago to lead up to right now. I've been in practice for 18. I started to get to this point about 12 years ago. And so, like, man, it just takes a while, but I'm so pumped for the next 12 years because I know how fast it goes and I know how much we can accomplish. 12 years ago, I had one practice and I was starting the process of like tripling my first practice. Now we have 9 practices. We're adding more over the next few months. I want to double my company in the next 12 to 14 months. And man, I'm so freaking fired up to go do that. Like, I cannot express to you, like, let's go.
Hey, and that, to your point, that is the greatest. I mean, who wouldn't want to work with that kind of passion, right? If I'm a dentist and I'm complacent, I need that around me so I can get some of it, basically, right?
Kill that crap off. Like, enough is enough. Like, I don't care if you're 31 or 61. It's got to die. We got to kill off that version of you. And we've got to go because the opportunity has never been greater.
Let's go. I'm fired up. Excuse me. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. Hey, Dr. Brad, thank you so much for joining us on this pump day, on this Wednesday.
Hey! I appreciate it, guys.
All right, Dr. Brad, we're watching you.
Yeah, we're watching you. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining, and we will see you next time. That's right. Hey, Fred, see ya.